Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Professor Henry Bwisa, your tutor of entrepreneurship from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology in Kenya. Today, I pose this question. Is it the university function to create employment? Why am I posing this question? Because recently, on or around 24th of November 2021, there was this news, BBC, universities to get job targets for poor students. Universities to get good job targets for poor students. 2 days later, the Kenyan scene. This is Business Daily. Today, the 26th. Universities with jobless graduates to miss state funds. Yes, performance-based funding, which is now being proposed, is funding aimed at allocating a portion of university's education budget according to specific performance measures. It makes funding allocating more transparent and more competitive. So it is said. Of course, we're talking about the public universities that depend on the government for funding. So the key performance indicators to be considered will be a 4-year graduate rate, graduate employability rate 1 year after graduation, and research inputs. That is the University Funds Board draft proposal as it reads or as it's reported in the media. I must confess I've not looked at the document, but this is what's reported in the media. And then all over, a splash of top stories. Universities with jobless graduates to miss state funds. You see, universities with most unemployed graduates to lose state funds in proposed formula. State to slash funding for universities with jobless graduates in the proposed formula. Yes. Now, the requirement for universities to make sure their graduates are employed assumes that there are wage employment opportunities baking in Kenya. On the contrary, a number of companies have been retrenching or even closing up shop. Hence, employment opportunities are actually reducing against the growing number of graduates. So, as graduates increase because of the growing population and the growing number of universities and so on, the economy actually, the employment avenues are actually shrinking. Yes, some companies that have either retrenched or closed. Kenya Power, Kenya Airways, Standard Bank. Indeed, 2 years ago, I was training Standard Bank retrenchees, some of them who were as young as 27 years old, and who had just worked in the bank for something like 3 years. They were being retrenched, sent home. Sugar industries, supermarkets, Nakumatt, Tuskys, Software Bottling Company, Samia Africa, Woolworths, EcoBank, Barclays, Equity, quite a number have been thinning or rather retrenching, downsizing. So if these are the avenues that would employ graduates and they're shrinking, then definitely we can see that employability of graduates is going to be a problem. So, is it therefore logical? Well, maybe. Now, let's take another angle. Universities work in an education system. Now, that is the system's approach theory to management, that they are the input, the process, and the output, and then feedback from output to input or even the process. So that is the system theory. Now let's liken it to a school system. Let's look at elements of a school system. Of course, there's input, process, and output. The input of a school system will be the students, the teachers, administrators, teaching tools, etc., etc. Those will be the inputs. But the process will be now the school itself, the school system, the teaching, the examinations, presentations, seminars, class assignments, training students in various disciplines, and of course the output will be the graduates, the educated students. This is an input-output process. Look, a system. Now, let's look at the university system. The university system has inputs, and that is largely in the government sphere. Students, faculty, material resources, financial resources, information, all this. Yes, public universities receive students from the government sphere. So those are the inputs into a university system. And then the university now itself, from the government sphere, we come the university sphere, which is now the process, the teaching, learning, content, curriculum, assessment, management, research, community service. And then the output is actually the industry sphere output. The graduates are the output, the research outputs, the knowledge production. But then we go beyond the output, we have the outcome. And that's when employment comes in. Growth and development comes in. And we have that loop feedback from industry back to university and even back to government. Now, the message here is garbage in, garbage out. Bad inputs produce bad outputs. But the process is supposed to at least correct that. So in matters employment, the three spheres must work together, if you ask me. It doesn't pay to point just at one sphere. I think the three must work together. Therefore, I'm saying there is need for the elements of the system, that is the government, the university, and the industry, to work together rather than pointing a finger at just one element. Look at that. This is a scenario in Kenya. There's the government, there's the industry, and the university. It's like the government's for us all, but industry is largely on its own, university is largely on its own, within the government, but interactions are minimal. Now, would this next be ideal? Where there are industry, university interactions with the government overseeing the same? So, government can actually incentivize university industry linkages from that polarization, from this polarization where industry is on its own and university on its own, onto this scenario where industry and university are intersecting, working together. And now the government can incentivize the university industry linkages that eliminate that polarization. For example, rather than use the stick to punish universities for graduates not getting employed, the government can use the carrot to encourage university industry linkages. For example, we can say more funding will be given to universities with productive industry linkages. It is not always attractive to use the stick. We can use the carrot to achieve what the stick can achieve, perhaps even better. So, the common scenarios in Kenyan system, the common scenario is a bilateral relationship. Look, there is the industry and the government. There is the interaction there. Government, university, there's interaction there. Industry, university, interaction there. But look at the middle. It's a void. The three don't meet. Look, that space. You see? The three don't meet all together. Now, this scenario, which is very common in Kenya, does not help employment. The rare scenario is what I'm calling trilateral relations, where now there is an intersection, industry, government, university, that kind of situation. So we are saying, yes, indeed, the government can incentivize, can oversee those interactions. Otherwise, simply pointing a finger to one sphere may work, but may work painfully. So all the three should meet at a point: the government, university, and the industry. So, what do I see as the role of the government in the employment equation? I want to pick out some aspects here. The government role is to stabilize the economy. When economy is stable, it will create employment. Maintain competition. Maintain legal framework. Provide public goods. Let's look at them. Stabilize the economy. The use of government budgets and or the money supply to promote economic growth, control inflation, and reduce government costs. We do that, we create a stable economy, and employment is created. Maintain competition, create and enforce antitrust laws to regulate the natural monopolies. Maintain legal framework, create laws, provide courts, provide information services to help the economy function better, establish a monetary system, define and enforce property rights. These are actions that government can take to actually help create employment. Provide goods and services. We're going to public goods. Provide goods and services that markets are unable or unwilling to provide, like defense, like roads. And when we do that, we're creating employment. So, creation of employment is a job of all the three spheres and not just the university. Yes, the university has its role. It has to produce relevant graduates. But we can actually produce the relevant graduates. But if the economy is shrinking, they will not be employed. Yes, we have seen that, as I've already said. Now, here is one ideal situation. This is when we have government, industry, and academia. The academia, education, research, entrepreneurship, and all that. So, from the government to the academia, research funds, research teams, research facilities, and logistics. From academia to industry, scientific and technological breakthroughs and innovations, prototype processes, standards. And from government to industry, seed or startup funds. This tripartite, or if you want, three-way processes will help better create employment rather than punishing a university which is producing graduates who are employable, and yet the government has not assisted the industry to create startups in Kenya. For every for every 5 small enterprises started, only one or two see or enjoy or celebrate their third birthday. So with that high mortality rate, even those who are employed will be retrenched. So I think, therefore, that the rule that the government wants to put up is good, is necessary, but it's not sufficient to create the employment that is required. And particularly when there are no research funds, and probably those research funds have been consumed by corruption. The government policy, the government legal system is not taking care of that corruption. That means the leakages out of the system that actually cause the economy to shrink, industries to close, and therefore unemployment to rise. Yes, if you enjoyed it, please like it, please share it, subscribe, and if you wish to support us, research and bring you more, you can donate. Just visit our website www.mokumik.co.ke or reach us through that email, or simply drop in a coin at buy goods till number 547-6465. Yes, have a full employment day, won't you? Thank you.